Hello people, and welcome back to another episode of Cities Skylines Modular Builds. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we are going to have a look at how we can use the assets from the Concerts DLC to make a functional and aesthetically appropriate music festival area site. Let's get started, shall we? Okay guys, so the first thing we're going to do here, we're going to find any kind of arterial or road within your city. We're going to grab ourselves a 2-lane gravel road and we're going to draw out, first of all, by a distance of 20 tiles. And then come out from the top of this line by the cost of 120 on either side, which will give us a nice basic T pattern like this, okay? Then at the head of this T, we're going to come into our unique buildings, go over to the Concerts DLC, grab ourselves the fan zone park, which will centralize nicely with this central road that we've already drawn in. And once the fan zone park is in, we're going to come up with our gravel road again and draw in a perfect box snapping to the road guidelines, leaving a distance of 3 tiles either side of our fan zone park here. Once we have our fan park zone placed in, we're going to come to adjust our grid snapping and grab the regular vanilla gravel path. And then we're then going to start drawing up in the spaces either side of this, okay? This is very much a decoration technique and is not needed for the functionality of the build. It just helps to get rid of a little bit more of that grass and fill it out with some dirt texture, which is the same as the bottom of the fan zone park. We're now going to return to all of our snapping on, come back and grab our 2-lane gravel road again. And then either side of this T that we drew out at the start, we're going to come out by a distance of 11 tiles, which is a cost of 220. Cross by 120, and then up and join it back in with the original starting point. And we want to paint out a green cities district over this. Go ahead and snap it into the corners of the roads, give it the organic and local produce specialization, and we're then going to come into our low density commercial, grab the marquee tool, and we're going to paint out 1x4 zonings here. Now these zoning squares have a chance to generate an asset that kind of looks like a concession stand, and we're going to use this in a heavily repeated pattern in order to get what we want here. I kind of leave the game running so you can just get an idea of how long they take to come in. There are a few assets within this pool and you will have to keep deleting them. If you find that these are spawning on 2x2s, as you can see here, just delete the adjacent road and then that will force the building into becoming a 1x4. You just have to wait and be patient with them. And the asset we are looking for here is called the Whole Foods Market, which once in its repeated pattern will look a little bit like this. They are really nice. They do have some kind of fruit and veg assets on them, as you can see, but they serve really nicely for the aesthetic purpose of this build, whilst also satisfying a little bit of your commercial demand, and you can repeat this pattern as many times as you want based on how big or large you want your music festival site to be. So once you have repeated your Whole Foods Market as many times as you like, see I've gone for the pattern twice here, you can of course take it kind of above or top or to the side. It doesn't have to be side to side like this, whatever style you prefer. Then we're going to move above to where we place the fan zone park in, and then we're going to grab ourselves a dirt road again. We're going to come out by a distance of 120, and then draw this back down. And then the same again, just above that. We're working with very kind of straight blocks and angles here, it's all very easy. Come back into our unique buildings, and we're then going to place the festival area itself, again, which will centralize perfectly within these measurements, which is always appreciated, I think. We're then going to come back to the start of the build. We're going to grab ourselves a regular park gate. Of course, you want to grab the small park main gate here. We're going to place this one there. Grab ourselves the park area, and then paint it out over the entire build. We're using the park area here to place assets within the area away from the road. However, this park area will make you a small amount of money, as Sims will use the gates to get in and out. Just go ahead and paint out your park area across the area that you plan your music area to be in, until it's all done like this. Come back into your park area and then grab a park side gate, and then again back into our vanilla dirt paths. Then we're going to draw these straight up to meet the top of the T, which will look a little bit something like this. Now that we have that park area in, we can come back into our park life stuff. Now, I'm going to use the gazebos almost as like beer tents or premium viewing platforms for the festival area here. Isn't necessary, totally an aesthetic choice, but if you want to use it you can do. And then I'm just going to run them in a repeated pattern in these grids that we've drawn in earlier. So beer tents or kind of premium viewing platforms, whatever justification you want to give to include them. And then I'm also just going to flank them either side with a little bit of nature reserve path with decorations, just like so. Again, helping to fill it out and also add in some nice textures in front of our music festival site here. Now that we have our beer tents or premium viewing platforms, whatever you want to call them, we're going to come back into our gravel path and grab the curve tool. And then from this second tile down alongside the road that runs up to the music festival site, we're going to click here and we're going to come out by a distance of 9 tiles and then curve up to a distance of 9 tiles, which will meet with the road guideline of the path that comes out of the festival area here, okay? And then we're going to repeat this, leaving a distance of 2 tiles between that path that we've just drawn in, coming out to the road guideline of the middle one, and then drawing it up, which is going to give us these nicely, perfectly spaced, curved paths, which again is always appreciated. Okay, just making sure we keep repeating this pattern. And we're going to do this a total of 4 times on either side. Now this will give us something that looks a little bit like this. We're then going to come back into our Parks and Plazas tab, dive over into the Nature Reserve assets, and then we're going to place a myriad of the Nature Reserve assets here, including campfires and the 3 tents that we have available. Now because we're in a park life area here, we can get away with placing the tents away from a road, which is why it's important that we run the park life area. Just keep mixing up your tent assets, otherwise the pattern will become too heavily repeated. But the point is that we kind of want them all facing into the main stage, right? So do this and fill out the area as you please. Having all these little tents here really kind of contributes to that festival site. The tents are kind of a key asset of any festival anywhere in the world, I think. And once we come to the detailing tile maps today, more nature reserve assets here will go a long way in helping to kind of increase this vibe. And I think it's a nice little touch. And once you've got your chosen amount of assets in, we're going to come back into our pathways. I've also actually upgraded these into nature reserve fence with decorations just for the fairy lights. Any path will really work. I would tend to stick to either the nature reserve ones or the vanilla dirt one. Any kind of tarmac within this part of the festival kind of takes away from the area, but it's up to you. But then we're going to start linking all the paths together and straight into the festival site itself. This is going to help create something of a border and also increase the walkability of the build itself. Then we'll come back down to the bottom of the T, and then we're going to draw up and meet all these pathways together, like so. Keep linking them all like that. Then you have something that looks a little bit like this right now, okay? Then we'll come back down to the right hand point of this initial starting T, grab ourselves a dirt road and come out by a distance of 80 tiles. Then we're going to come down by another 10. When I want to build something of a functioning medical care area for the site in case there's any kind of emergencies, right? I'll place in a med clinic and then accompany that with a yoga garden and then bring our road behind and then box them in like so. I'm also going to upgrade my first starting paths into nature reserve with decoration right here. And then what we're going to do is off of these 2 paths right here, we're going to draw at any point really, it doesn't really matter where you do this. We're going to hook them into the main entrance road. And we're then going to grab our Parks and Plaza stuff, come back into the park assets, and then I want to grab a couple of park info booths which will fit perfectly into these 3x3 tiles, almost serving as some kind of entrance gate or ticket office. It's up to you what justification you want. You don't have to use the info booths either. Any kind of park asset will work nicely here, including the cafe. We'll now start working on these empty spaces that we have between the med clinic and where the tents will sit. So from this 4th tile in from this dirt road, we're going to come out by a distance of 220, come up by 120, and then back across and into this area here. And then we're going to start dropping in back-to-back restrooms from the city parks option, and just to help build ourselves a block of somewhat horrible, rancid festival toilets. We can just kind of see the effect that these will have, right? You can repeat this design anywhere within the build itself. It doesn't have to be on this side. It can be over there. It can be down by the entrance. It can be up near the tents. Really kind of up to you as to where you want this build to sit, okay? So now we have our repeated toilet blocks in. A lot of the other park life assets will work really nicely in here, especially if you want to build some kind of like kids area for the festival, including the trampoline parks and the climbing frame. And then don't forget, you also have a bunch of your amusement park assets as well, which still can be placed within this park area. It doesn't have to be a specific theme park, but you can place any of these in here, which I will do towards the detailing time lapse. And we can kind of see how they all fit in and form this particular type of build So let's bring some nice bushes, forests and flowers into this area. Get a big fence going around the whole thing so we can kind of box it in as a specific area. And we'll also get a big fence going around the entire build today so it really kind of boxes it off and makes it so you have to come through these 3 entrance points right here. So let's detail up and see what we're looking like afterwards. Okay guys, that is going to do it for today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the episode, a like below is always appreciated. Equals much if you haven't enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a dislike as well. If you've really enjoyed it, maybe consider subscribing to the channel if you aren't already. If you are missing any of the DLCs that we've used in today's modular build, there is a link down to Instant Gaming below where you can pick them up for super cheap, and it does help support the channel as well. A really unique style of modular build today, and honestly quite hard to pull off without using any workshop assets or any kind of significant game changing mods. But I think it's alright. I think it is. The vibe is definitely there. Let me know what you guys think of it down in the comments below. And thank you again for continued support on the modular build series. I realise these aren't as frequent as Palaven or any other kind of videos, but I'm glad that you guys are still enjoying them anyway. Hang around for the rest of the OVERCHARGED and check out the festival site now. It's leveled up to level 5, which took hours, by the way. Didn't realise how long that actually takes. Otherwise, I'll shut up and leave it there. Well, thank you all so much for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.